Okay, so today we're diving deep into some really unsettling territory. Those true crime cases where evil hides in plain sight.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area, really.
We're talking about notorious serial killers pulling insights from the Victims and Villains podcast.
Okay, sounds intriguing.
And we're going to be looking at Dennis Rader, John Wayne Gacy, and Jeffrey Dahmer.
Ah, those are some truly disturbing
Yeah,
cases.
and that's kind of the point here, right? These cases really challenge our assumptions about what a monster really looks like.
Right, right. We expect, I don't know, like a sinister appearance or something.
Exactly. You want some kind of obvious warning sign. But often, the scariest individuals are masters of disguise.
Blending in, making you think they're harmless.
Exactly. Take Dennis Rader, for example, the
Right.
BTK killer.
Yeah.
He terrorized Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah, that case was really something.
This guy wasn't like a recluse. He was a family man, a Boy Scout leader. He
Wow.
was even the president of his church council.
You've got to be kidding me. It's almost impossible to believe that someone so integrated into the community could be capable of that kind of, well, just calculated cruelty.
Right, and that's what makes Rader's case such a chilling example of
Compartmentalization.
exactly. It's like he wasn't just putting on an act in public. He created these separate compartments in his mind.
Make a psychological wall.
Yeah. In one compartment, he's the upstanding citizen, and then in this other compartment,
Lurks this incredibly dark side.
it's disturbing to think that someone could maintain that level of duality in their life.
And what's even more disturbing is that he craved the attention.
Yeah, the source material on this is incredible. It
Yeah.
mentions that his need for notoriety is actually what ultimately got him caught.
The arrogance is just it's astounding.
Like, he wanted to be recognized for his crimes.
That's classic narcissistic personality disorder right there. They have this huge sense of self-importance, this need for admiration.
And for someone like Rader, that manifested in those chilling letters and messages that he sent to the police, the media.
Oh, I remember those. Taunting them, making sure everyone knew it was him.
It's like he needed the world to know that he was the one orchestrating this whole reign of terror.
It's a really disturbing thought.
It makes you wonder about the psychology behind it. Like,
Yeah,
what motivates someone to not only commit such horrific acts, but to then, like, insert themselves into the story?
absolutely. And it's interesting you bring that up because our next subject, John Wayne Gacy, he took a bit of a different approach to this whole hiding in plain sight thing.
Oh, yeah, Gacy, the killer clown. Now, he was all about that outward persona, wasn't he?
He was. Instead of craving the spotlight like Raider, he wanted to blend in, almost disappear behind this facade.
Yeah, and he was good at it, too. Active in his community, even involved in local politics.
He even had his picture taken with Rosalind Carter. It's unbelievable. This wasn't just a coincidence either. This was all part of a pattern, a very deliberate pattern of deception. He was hiding his true nature behind this carefully constructed facade.
Right, and that facade was working.
Yeah,
People saw him as this harmless, even friendly figure.
exactly. And that's what makes these cases, especially Gacy's, so unsettling. It's a stark reminder that, unfortunately, appearances can be very deceiving.
It's like he was using that clown persona as a way to, like, disarm people?
Exactly, like a mask hiding the darkness beneath.
He'd be there at children's parties, entertaining, making people laugh. It sends chills down your spine thinking about it.
It really does. And it makes you wonder, right? Like, what are the signs that we might be missing with people?
Right, because he was so good at this, at manipulating people's perceptions. He
Yeah.
even had that picture with Rosalind Carter. Makes you think, how did no one see through him?
Well, that's the thing about manipulation. It's often a hallmark of antisocial personality disorder.
And people with that, they often lack empathy,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. They don't feel remorse the way most people do. And that makes it much easier for them to blend in, to manipulate others to get what they want.
Which, in Gacy's case, involved preying on young men, luring them to his home. It's a horrifying thought.
It really is. And it's a reminder, a very stark reminder that we need to be vigilant. We need to trust our gut instincts.
Because in both Rader and Gacy's cases, there were patterns of behavior that went unnoticed for years.
Yeah.
And, that brings us to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Hmm.
His case is, well, it's perhaps the most unsettling of the three, in a way.
How so?
Well, because Dahmer really shatters that whole myth of the the obvious monster, you
Yeah, I
know.
mean,
The source material on Dahmer paints this picture of him as someone who was surprisingly unassuming.
really?
Yeah, he blended into the background. He lived this quiet life in Milwaukee. Some of his neighbors even shared meals with him. They had no idea.
Wow. That's incredible.
It's like the ultimate example of evil hiding in plain sight.
It's interesting you say that because we often think of evil as something, well, something outwardly monstrous.
Loud, aggressive, noticeable.
Exactly. But Dahmer's case shows us that evil can be much more insidious than that. It doesn't always announce itself with, grand gestures or overt violence.
And that's what allowed him to operate undetected for so long. He didn't fit the stereotype.
Hmm.
But his crimes, I mean.
Disturbing, to say the least.
Cannibalism, necrophilia,
Mm.
acts that are just, you can barely even comprehend them. How can someone who seems so normal on the surface be capable of such darkness?
Well, and this is where it gets really complicated because Dahmer's case speaks to the incredible complexities of human psychology.
In what way?
Well, by all accounts, Dahmer was battling with his own demons. He was struggling immensely. And his crimes, as horrific as they were, seemed to be his way of exerting control, of possessing and preserving, even in this twisted way, a connection with his victims.
So it's all about control for him.
In a way, yes. It's a terrifying thought, but I think it's a crucial one to remember. Evil can manifest in ways that we least expect. It doesn't always fit neatly into the boxes we create for it.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, that's for sure. That sometimes the line between good and evil, it's not a clear, bright line. It's more like a blurry spectrum.
Exactly.
And these cases, I mean, they force us to consider this uncomfortable truth that darkness, real darkness, it can exist in anyone.
And it can be hidden beneath what seems like perfect normalcy.
It really makes you question your own judgment. Like,
Yeah.
are there signs we're missing? Could someone we know be capable of something like this? It's a chilling thought, but maybe an important one.
It's a question that continues to fascinate criminologists and psychologists.
Like, what pushes someone in that direction?
Right, what leads them down this path of such horrific duality?
Yeah.
And how can we, as a society, be more aware, more vigilant without giving into, I don't know, paranoia?
Right, because we don't want to become distrustful of everyone around us.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance. There's no simple answer.
But it's definitely a conversation worth having.
Absolutely.
And maybe by understanding the psychology behind these cases, by learning about the warning signs.
Right, recognizing the factors at play.
Yeah, maybe then we can be more prepared to recognize danger and hopefully prevent these kinds of tragedies from happening.
I agree. Knowledge is power, as they say.
It's true. So what have we learned today? We've seen that the most terrifying villains often lurk in the shadows, right?
Hidden in plain sight.
Leading these seemingly ordinary lives. And that's a chilling thought, but if we can understand the psychology behind it,
Recognize that evil doesn't always, wear a menacing grin.
exactly, then maybe, just maybe, we can all be a little bit safer.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but it's definitely a lot to think about. Thanks for listening.